person in front of you isn't who they say they are. Not your friend, not your lover, not your boss. They're all wearing masks. But what if you could make those masks fall without ever raising your voice? This isn't about reading people. It's about uncovering them, peeling back the layers they've spent a lifetime protecting. Because people don't show their truth. You have to trigger it. Every word they say is filtered, every gesture rehearsed, but under pressure, under silence, under the right kind of question, the real person leaks through. And once you know these 13 tricks, you'll stop guessing, you'll stop hoping, you'll see them fully, naked, unmasked. Welcome to the dark side of perception. This is how to make anyone reveal who they really are. They smile at you, they nod politely, they tell you what you want to hear. But make no mistake, you're not speaking to a person. You're speaking to their mask. From the moment we step into the world, we are taught one lesson above all. Don't show them who you are. Show them what they'll accept. This is the lie we live. Not because people are evil, but because most are terrified of being truly seen. Because being seen means being judged. Being judged means being rejected. And rejection feels like death to the ego. So instead of authenticity, they build armor, a curated persona, smoothed over stories, morally acceptable emotions, all neatly packaged to survive in a society that punishes raw truth. Carl Jung once said, "The reason people avoid facing their own soul is because it's the most terrifying thing imaginable." They don't just hide from others, they hide from themselves. The truth is, most people don't know who they are, and the ones who do, they've buried it under years of pretending, pleasing, adapting. You think you're talking to a man, you're talking to a survival mechanism. You think you're dating a woman, you're dating her idea of being lovable. You think your friend is open with you, they're open only within the boundaries they feel safe in. Beyond that, silence, performance, deflection, and yet, every mask has cracks. And those cracks? That's where this video takes you. Because once you understand why people hide, you'll understand exactly how to make them reveal themselves. Not by force, but by creating the conditions where truth has nowhere left to run. The spiral tightens from here. Ready? Everyone wears a mask, but the weak ones can't hold it for long. This is where the game begins, not with confrontation, but with subtle tension. These first 3 tricks are designed to gently shake the mask, without making the person realize what you're doing. No pressure, no alarm, just controlled observation and exposure. 1. Ask a simple question. Twice. Why it works. Most people prepare their answers based on what they think you want to hear, but when you ask again, they panic. Example, what do you like most about your job? They answer. Later, you circle back. So what do you really like about it? Watch for hesitation. A shift in tone. A different answer. That's your truth. Psychology. The first answer is social programming. The second one is closer to their unconscious leak. 2. Use strategic silence. Why it works. People hate silence more than truth. The average person rushes to fill it with validation-seeking noise. After they respond to a question, just pause. Look at them. Say nothing. Don't nod. Don't smile. The discomfort will force them to keep talking, and the real self starts slipping out. What to watch for? Nervous laughter, self-corrections, confessions disguised as jokes. Sorry, I tend to ramble. Translation. I wasn't supposed to say that. 3. Watch who they're nice to and who they ignore. Why it works. Kindness toward powerful people is performance. Kindness toward the powerless is reality. At a restaurant, how do they treat the waiter? During a group chat, who do they interrupt? Do they smile differently when talking to someone attractive versus average? These moments expose their internal hierarchy, because what people admire reveals what they secretly want to become. Dark truth. If someone treats the invisible like they don't exist, they'll do the same to you the moment your value drops. These first 3 tricks are soft, gentle, but the cracks are already forming. And once you see the fractures, you don't stop there. You press. Now the spiral tightens. You've watched the surface. Now it's time to disturb it. Most people are only real when they're uncomfortable. They've rehearsed their script, but you're not here for the performance. You're here to break it. These next 3 tricks don't just reveal someone's true nature. They force them to abandon the mask, because you've taken control of the stage. 4. Flip the frame. Say the opposite of what they expect. Everyone wants agreement, praise, approval. It keeps them in character. So when you flip the frame, when you say the opposite of what they expect, it destabilizes their ego. Example, they say, "I've always been a loyal person." You say, "Interesting." Most loyal people don't say that out loud. What happens? Their face twitches, their words stutter, their emotional baseline shifts. You forced them to defend the truth they were trying to present as obvious. This technique isn't about arguing, it's about forcing authenticity through dissonance. 5. Introduce microdiscomfort. Real personalities don't come out during small talk. They come out under pressure. Ask questions that are almost invasive. Not enough to trigger defense, but just enough to spark discomfort. Examples. Have you ever lied to someone just to get them to stay? What would people be surprised to learn about you? What's something you regret, but pretend you don't? Don't judge, don't react. Just watch what changes: body language, tone, eye movement. Microdiscomfort is the scalpel that peels off the social mask. 6. Interrupt their persona, mid-flow. Everyone tells stories to shape perception, but stories are like spells. Interrupt them, and the illusion breaks. Let them start their narrative, then cut through it with this phrase. "Hold on, do you really believe that's you?" Then go silent. This breaks the performance loop. Suddenly, they're not the storyteller, they're the subject, and subjects squirm under inspection. You're no longer a passive listener. You're the mirror they didn't want to face, and when people are forced to look at themselves, that's when the real self leaks out. Narration. Bridge to next part. You've cracked the surface and created friction, but what happens when you go deeper, into emotion, contradiction, and inner fear? That's where we're going next. If you want to see someone's soul, don't ask them who they are. Trigger what they're hiding. At this point in the spiral, we stop being polite. Most people wear masks that are reinforced by calm environments and safe conversations. But the human nervous system has one flaw. It can't lie under emotional pressure. When you touch the right nerve, the mask fractures. Here's how you do it. 7. Bring up a subtle contradiction. Say something like, "You told me you value loyalty, but you mentioned ghosting your friend last year." Then shut up. Don't attack. Don't judge. Just observe. They'll either get defensive, over-explain, or blame others. But the truth isn't in their words. It's in the panic behind them. If they are what they say, their response will be composed. If they're not, they'll scramble. People don't fear being questioned. They fear being seen. 8. Watch micro-expressions after praise or criticism. Micro-expressions last less than half a second. They flash before someone has time to control them, and they reveal the raw emotion beneath the act. Compliment something deep. "I admire how calm you are under pressure." Watch their eyes. Do they light up or tighten? Critique something indirectly. Some people fake being confident just to hide how lost they are. Watch for a twitch of contempt, fear, or shame. If you're watching closely, you'll see the moment they break character. The body leaks what the ego hides. 9. Delay your reactions. This one's brutal and surgical. In conversation, people expect instant feedback, approval, curiosity, validation, but when you say nothing or take an uncomfortable pause, they start to fill the silence. And in that silence, they start confessing. Here's how to use it. Ask a question, let them answer, then pause. And don't respond. Just look at them. Calm, quiet, focused. You've now hijacked their nervous system. They'll begin justifying, revealing fears, or doubling down on their persona. The truth isn't always forced out. Sometimes it spills out. When you say nothing at all, these aren't just tricks, they're psychological pressure points. You're not asking people to reveal who they are. You're creating the perfect conditions for their mask to fall off by itself. And once you see what lies beneath, you'll never believe someone's surface again. Most people will hide their darkness, their fear, their hunger for validation. But there's one part of them that always betrays the act: the ego. And here's the psychological truth. You don't have to break someone's mask. You just have to let their ego do it for you. 10. Give them the spotlight. Want to see who someone really is? Don't interrupt, don't challenge, don't control the conversation. Let them talk, and keep talking. Ask a vague, open-ended question. So what drives you? What kind of person do you think you are? Then go silent. Let the void expand, and they will start to fill it. The longer they speak uninterrupted, the more they reveal their inner framework, their values, their pride, their resentments, their fantasies of control. This trick works because the ego can't resist the opportunity to perform. And like any actor given too much stage time, the mistakes will come. They'll contradict themselves. They'll exaggerate. They'll show you what they secretly want you to believe, because that's what they lack. Most people are so desperate to be understood, they'll confess their entire psychology under the illusion of self-expression. 11. Compliment the opposite of what they're insecure about. This is a test, a diagnostic scan for insecurity. Say something that strokes the exact area you suspect they're sensitive about, but do it gently, almost offhand. For example, if they seem insecure about intelligence, casually say, "You strike me as someone who doesn't need to prove how smart they are." Then observe. If they beam with pride, downplay, or brush it off, they're likely secure. But if they double down, over-explain, or immediately try to prove the compliment, you hit a nerve. Insecurity always reacts. The more they try to deny the wound exists, the more they show you where to look. You've just exposed what they fear you'll see. Dark psychology. Insight. The ego is both a shield and a mirror. It protects the fragile parts, but it also reflects them in distorted form. Let someone feel safe. Let them feel admired. And they'll do the most dangerous thing possible. They'll reveal themselves willingly. No force, no interrogation, just precision observation. This is where they break, where the mask falls, not because you tore it off, but because they can't hold it anymore. You've applied tension. You've disarmed their script. You've watched their micro-reactions, probed their stories, and shifted the power dynamic without them noticing. Now comes the final breach. Here, we stop observing and start forcing the reveal. 12. Introduce controlled conflict. Character is what you are under pressure. Everything else is acting. Start small. Ask a challenging question. Disagree calmly, or introduce a subtle contradiction between what they say and what they do. Examples: you say you hate drama, but that story sounds like something out of a soap opera. You keep talking about trust, but I've noticed you avoid direct answers. This isn't aggression, it's precision. The moment tension rises even slightly, the real person surfaces. Watch for defensive over-explaining, passive-aggressive jabs, emotional spikes that don't match the situation. Their inability to maintain composure or image, you're not fighting them, you're letting them fight the mask they built. 13. The accidental exposure statement. This one's surgical. Say, gently, as if it's just an observation, "I get the feeling you're not showing everything." Then shut up. Don't explain. Don't smile. Don't rescue them from the silence. Let them sit in the implication. Here's what happens. The insecure will confess something to prove you wrong. The manipulator will overreact, trying to redirect or control the narrative. The honest, they'll simply pause and tell you more. This one sentence bypasses their defense mechanisms because it sounds like intuition, not accusation. You're not asking them for truth. You're implying you already see it. And in the tension of that moment, they reveal exactly what they hoped to hide. A mask is heavy. Eventually, even liars crave someone who sees their truth and doesn't flinch. You've now crossed the final layer of the spiral. The mask didn't just slip, it shattered. They didn't just show you who they are. They needed you to see it. Every trick you've learned wasn't designed to manipulate. It was designed to expose. Because the truth doesn't arrive politely. It leaks through nervous laughs, delayed reactions, and contradictions they hope you'll ignore. When someone's pretending, they have to remember who they're supposed to be. But the real self, it doesn't remember, it reacts. You've learned how to apply pressure without aggression, how to listen for what isn't said, how to let them undo themselves without saying a word. This isn't about becoming a cold manipulator. It's about becoming immune to deception. You don't need to interrogate people to see who they are. You just need to let them keep talking. And eventually, the mask falls off. Because most people are playing a role. And the deeper truth, if you know what to watch for, they'll show you exactly who they are, even if they never meant to. So here's the question. Will you keep listening to what people say, or start watching what they leak? If you're ready to look beneath the surface, to see the truth behind the performance, subscribe now and comment below your thoughts. Because now, you don't just hear people, you read them.